Derek had been a gamer ever since he was a young kid, but now that he was older, he was beginning to grow very bored with video gaming. All games to him just seemed to be the same thing over and over again. He was desperately waiting for the next big video game innovation, and in his mind, it had to be virtual reality. When he first heard of the Oculus Rift, he was filled with excitement. This was what he had been waiting years for. And when he saw that you could purchase the development kit off the Oculus Rift website, he was in. It was a bit pricey, but to him it was completely worth it, because this was the future of gaming becoming a reality. About a month had passed, and it had finally arrived in the mail. He removed the Oculus Rift from the packaging, and just gazed at it, as he began to imagine all of the new gaming experiences that would come from this new technology. Without hesitation, he hooked it up, and began to search the web for some games to play, and was amazed at how many there were, considering the Oculus Rift hadn't even been officially released yet. Once he started playing, he was immediately stunned at how immersive the Oculus Rift felt. Some games made him feel like he was a part of the world. After playing almost every game available, Derek was convinced that this was the next best thing. But soon, he began to grow bored of the games that he had, so back to the web he went to look for more. He wanted something that was scary and weird, something like his favorite game, Silent Hill. He searched on the web for a while, until he saw something that caught his eye. It wasn't the prettiest website, but it seemed safe enough. The website had a download for a game titled Oculus Hell. There weren't any screenshots, but just a description that read, "Experience the world of Oculus Hell." Derek was quite intrigued by this, so without a second thought he began downloading it. Once it was complete, he put on the Oculus Rift and booted up the game. As the game began, he was immediately playing in an area that looked like what someone imagined was hell. To Derek, it reminded him a bit of Lost Izalith and Dark Souls. The game seemed like it was more of an exploration simulation type of affair, but he was convinced there was more to this place than met the eye. He began to explore the hellish-looking area all around to try to find anything other than an empty area. He ventured through the vast land for about an hour, with no luck of finding anything interesting. Derek was beginning to wonder if this game was simply just unfinished, but he quickly put his inquiries aside and pressed on. A little bit went by, and he finally came across what looked like a cave that he could enter. He thought to himself that this was finally what he had been looking for. Without another thought, he entered the cave. Once inside the dimly lit cavern, Derek began to tread lightly, as he knew that something was finally about to happen. At the end of the cavern, he came to a sharp turn. This is it, he thought to himself. He took a deep breath as he slowly approached the corner. His heart began to race, and his hands began to shake. With a burst of adrenaline, he turned to see nothing, just a dead end. Derek made his way back to the entrance of the cave, but he was puzzled. He had explored the entire game and found nothing. Well, that was a waste of time, he thought to himself. Feeling disappointed, he reached up to remove the Oculus Rift. What the hell? He said out loud. He was touching the sides of his head and couldn't feel the strap. Now he began to panic. He touched his hands all over his head desperately to remove the Oculus Rift, but he couldn't feel it. And then he had a frightening realization when he could plainly see his own hands right in front of his face. Filled with confusion and fear, Derek frantically searched for a way out. He began to scream at the top of his lungs for help until his voice would eventually give out. His efforts for escape would be all in vain because he was now trapped in his own Oculus Hell.